and welcome back to YCR's Food for Thought series. My name is Hannah, and I'm a third year student at U of C in natural science. With me today is Justice and Camilla. Justice, if you want to give yourself a quick introduction.
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Justice Otto. I am a graduate of the University of Alberta. I studied commerce and I majored in finance, minored in economics. I'm very excited to listen to Pamela speak today. Yeah.
Thank you.
I'll introduce myself as well. So my name is Camilla. I am a student in environmental sciences from Quebec, and I am super interested in the subject that we will be talking about today.
Super, thank you so much, you guys. For those of you who are just seeing YCR's Food for Thought series for the first time, we are an advocacy group made by students and young professionals for students and young professionals, and we believe that Canada can have a strong future in resources, the economy, and the environment. Please feel free to connect with us at any time on all of our social media platforms, such as Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. All of them are at YC Resources if you want to learn more about what we do. Joining us today is Pamela Morgan. We are super excited to have her back. This is her second time on our Food for Thought series. Pamela has loved calling Okotoks home for over 24 years now. Hiking, photography, and cycling the Okotoks pathways are where you'll find her in her off hours. Born and raised in Alberta, Pamela is proud of her rural roots and her ability to wear spurs in the boardroom. Taking her 30 plus years of executive business experience and her down-to-earth, we are better together attitude, Pamela founded Key Instincts, a multidimensional, value-heavy human resources firm based in her hometown. In this Food for Thought session, you will be offered some ways to kind of show your best in interviews. Whether you are connecting with your potential new employer in person or on video, your nonverbal behaviors speak louder than your words. Pamela was also trained by a behavioral specialist officer in the United States, allowing her to share some amazing insights into how and why we do what we do. She'll talk about the importance of nonverbal behaviors and how you introduce yourself before you even say a word. You'll learn how things like anxiety play a role and how you can use it to your benefit when looking to land your dream job. Before I hand the floor over to Pamela, please know that attendees are encouraged to ask questions throughout the presentation using the Q&A box below. And for anybody watching on our Facebook Live, please feel free to drop questions in the comments there, and we will address all of those as well. Thank you so much for joining us today, Pamela. We are super excited to have you, and I'll get out of your way here and just let you share your presentation.
Great. Thank you so much, Hannah and Justice and Camilla and Landon. It's an honor to be here with you again. And I know our time is short today, so I'll try to be super efficient and offer some food for thought. No pun intended. Everybody can see that presentation okay? Perfect. Okay. So today we're going to talk a little bit about hacking the interview. And hopefully I can allow you to walk away with some tips. Oh, and I'm so sorry, it's not going to let me. Oh, here we go. So housekeeping, let's just talk quickly. I know we don't have a lot of people on screen with us today, but I really, above and beyond even sharing some time together today, this is a good habit to have at all times. You know, we've now entered this amazing world of Zoom or Teams or virtual togetherness. So having your camera on really allows us to connect at a different level. You know, we talk a lot about how the energy is not the same as when we're in person, and that's absolutely factual. But there is some energy exchange when we get to see each other's faces and see our reactions, right? So, and then of course, we always want to respect each other. This is an open session. So how to prepare for an interview, the behavioral perspective. So your body language always tells a story. So whether, again, you're in person or you're presenting yourself virtually, you know, just good tips moving forward that we sometimes forget to do is making sure that we're making eye contact, making sure that we're always present, right? How you're sitting, your posture, You probably look back at when your mom and dad said, sit straight up and, be present in a conversation. Those rules still apply. And it's very, very important. So your body language says everything, as well as your facial gestures, right? Like some of us have a resting face. I won't expand on what the rest of that sentence says, but we want to make sure that we're approachable and we have somewhat of a smile, and that we have that engagement going on. Hiring based on behavior versus competency. So at Key Instincts, we do headhunting as well. We do talent acquisition. And our philosophy is, and it has been proven to be quite successful, is we have a ratio of 80% behavior and 20% skill. Skill is very important. I want to impress upon all of you that have gone to school and you have your secondary and you're probably going for further degrees and all that. Excellent. Please continue to do that. But your behavior actually plays a higher role. So when someone like myself is interviewing you, whether we're doing it virtually like we are today, or you're sitting in front of me, I'm watching your behavior, and we're going to talk about behavior in the interview. Probably starting to find that now, whether you're doing assessments, and there's a wealth of assessments out there, or that person is just engaging with you. They're paying attention to your nonverbal behavior. And then also those soft skills, right? What do you bring to the table? Again, competency, your hard skills are very important, but at 80%, 80-20 rule always is very applicable. So assessments, you probably heard of DISC, 16 personalities. We use 16 personalities just because it's a beautiful blend of Charles Young and Myers-Briggs. So it's a little bit of a lighter flavor. I recommend to anybody, you can go on there, you can do a free assessment, basically whether it is Myers-Briggs or DISC or colors, the list goes on and on. 16 personalities, and this is not a plug for them. I don't get any commissions or anything like that. I just really enjoy their thorough view, and they talk about every relationship. So whether that's professional or personal, and even write your career design and how that matches up. So I invite you to check them out. Where does your energy go when we're nervous, and then trying to find your calm? So a few little tricks, and you can watch each other. Hannah's gone through this program with me before, so she knows kind of the things that are telltale signs. Men tend to actually, their nervousness goes more towards into their legs, and they get that bouncy leg, right? You guys start to bounce your knee a little bit more. Different ways that you can redirect that energy and use it to your benefit is know that you're going to do that. It's not a bad thing to have nervousness. It's not, it kind of gets a bad rap. That nervousness is not necessarily anxiety, but nervousness is because you're really excited. It's the anticipation, the opportunity in front of you. You might really, really want this job. You want to say the right things. You don't want to mess it up. So with that, use that nervousness to your benefit. So you can talk more with your hands. If you notice, I talk a lot with my hands. I'm not Italian, I'm Irish, but I still talk a lot with my hands. So that's where my energy goes, because I become very passionate that way. So I may take that nervousness and move that into a passion, instead of feeling like I'm going to mess up or I'm not going to say the right thing at the right time. We do different things. Women tend to play with their hair a lot, right? Personally and professionally, when you're out, you're having conversation, we do those things. Our energy has to go somewhere in our body. It just doesn't stay dormant. Again, I challenge you all to discover this a little bit more. We have this wonderful thing called Google, and Google it, and you're going to find out a lot when it comes to that behavior and where your energy goes. I want to talk a little bit about deceitful cues. So what our interpretation is sometimes is when somebody doesn't look at you in the eye, they're being deceitful. That's not necessarily the case. You want to be really realistic about that. If somebody never looks you in the eye, then yes, there's probably some deceit. involved in that. I recommend, again, you go on Google and even look at politicians and having those conversations and how those behaviors are looked at. There's some really, really great fact finding in there where a politician might be speaking and they're not looking at the crowd and whatnot, and they find out there's some deceit in there. Sorry, politicians or whoever might be listening, but they get studied all the time. So things that are also considered deceitful cues, and this is from a behavioral standpoint, is when we look up and to the left, we're looking as reflection. So when we're being asked a question, or you ask somebody a question, and it could be a simple question, or it could be seeking truth. If you look up and to the left, that's normally based in finding your thought, right? Like really, like, you know, when you think of those cartoons, somebody's got that little bubble up there, you're looking at, you're trying to locate that thought and bring it back and recall that memory or that, and be able to answer that question. But if you're looking down and to the right, it's normally a deceitful cue. So just paying attention to that. Now I know you're all going to challenge your friends and your family members, and maybe your bosses already, but that tends to be a telltale sign. So with that, and also just somebody moving a lot. So for yourself, if you're being interviewed, try to find some calm within yourself. Try to find the ability to relax and center yourself, because too much moving is not good either. Like now you've got the person concentrating on your body movement instead of all your awesomeness and what you're sharing with them and telling them about your story and telling them why you're the right person for the position. Honesty for the win, 150%. Doesn't matter what you need to say, you have to be honest. Don't sidetrack it. Don't. So as an example of somebody saying, you know, why did you leave that job? And if you were terminated, you need to say that you were terminated. Just be honest about it, right? It's not a bad thing. It happens a lot, you know, not every relationship works out in the workplace. So always be honest moving forward. If you do not have the credentials, don't say you have the credentials. If you do not have the experience, don't say, this is not a place where you can fake it till you make it. You want to really be honest and say, you know what? I do not have the experience in this, but I am incredibly passionate and I want to learn more. And, you know, I'll give you a little tip. Whether you're being interviewed, if you're being interviewed by an HR person, it might be a little bit different. But if you're being interviewed directly by the owner, you want to be able to schmooze, if you will, and saying, you know, I don't have that experience, but Mr. Smith, I would love to be mentored by someone like you. I would like to have the opportunity. So don't get caught up always in the fact that you don't have the experience. There will always be someone out there, I promise, that is going to take the chance on you. But your behavior that's where your behavior shows over your hard skills. Okay. So always be honest. How you show up in person. Image is absolutely everything. So we all know, you know, when we went through this pandemic, hopefully it's behind us, and we're doing a lot of virtual conversations. I've had some pretty crazy interviews, like really people showing up on screen, and I'm like, did you think about this? And I'm just going to be honest with you, because I don't want you to be the person on screen with me that has a fall down moment like this. So make sure that you should be dressed in your best, your Sunday best, whatever you want to call it, whether you're in person or you're there virtually. So today I'm on screen with you, but I'm dressed as if I was going to be standing in front of you, or I was going to be on a stage. I've got a blazer on, I've got a nice blouse, I've got dress pants, I even have heels. You don't have to see my heels, but I know that I have them on. So the reason I'm telling you this is, you know, those mornings that you wake up and you don't feel particularly great, but if you get in the shower and you clean yourself up and you put on something nice, you automatically feel better. it brings you up to a different level. Your energy shows up differently. So really, truly, everybody, please dress for success. Punctuality, don't be late, ever. There's a rule about the Lombardi time. For those of you who are not familiar, Coach Lombardi out of the States, this is one of his rules, and it's passed on to the workforce for years and years. So punctuality, 15 minutes prior to your shift, 15 minutes prior to any appointment. You can maybe tighten it up by 5 minutes, but nothing impresses me more as a recruiter is when I go on screen with you, or you're coming in to meet me in my office and you're at least 5 minutes early. You already got an in. I already like you because I'm that important that you're going to make the effort to be in on time. Be prepared. So whether you need to have your resume, whether you need to, if you've got to drive to your interview, leave early enough so that you're going to have ample time to get there. If you need to download your Zoom or Teams or whatever facet that they're wanting you to show up on, make sure you have that prepared well in advance. I'm not sure if you're familiar with this, but I've interviewed people who have not had Zoom loaded up. And when I send that invite out to them, because they're loading Zoom up, and maybe I send the invite out on Monday and I'm not interviewing them till Wednesday. And Tuesday, I will receive verification that they've actually gone onto the meeting room, like a day in advance, 24 hours in advance. And all they're doing is they're showing me, I'm prepared, I'm ready to go, I've got everything set up. So just to let you know that people can actually see that you're doing that, right? And then research the company. Even if in the event that you have sent out 100 resumes through Indeed, when you get that resume in front of you, or when you get that opportunity, for the invite to be interviewed, follow up and research the company. Pull out what you can as far as who owns the company, who's the founder of the company, information about the company, what the position really consists of, and if there's a compensation or anything as far as benefits and those things surrounding it, make sure you've done your research on that ad. Someone like myself, I'm going to ask, it's one of the top 10 questions I ask. Have you researched the company? And then when you say, yes, I have, tell me about the company, because I'm going to challenge you, right? So what can you tell me? And you don't have to tell me every, the last 100 years that they've been in operation, but give me a highlight of that and attach to that research why then you want to work for this company and why you should be sitting and eating at that table. So, if you researched Amazon, I'm going to just throw something out there easy. Amazon, you're going to pick out the top 5 things about Amazon that you really love and respect. And then if I hired you for Amazon, what are you going to be able to bring to the table to take Amazon to the next level? How are you going to be able to support that? How you show up virtually. So we talked a little bit about this again, about image being everything, so not to be funny, but to be funny, make sure you put your pants on, make sure you got a nice blouse on, all of those things, right? Make sure you turn your camera on and make sure everything works accordingly. And again, be punctual on that, right? If somebody's taking the time to interview you, they're taking time out of their day. They expect you to take time out of your day, and that you're going to set a precedence on that as well. Over and above all of this, I would also talk about if you have a cell phone, if you have any distractions, try to shut those down as much as possible. Okay, turn your phone off, close the door. Don't let your cat or your dog be up on the bed with you, or, all of those things. And maybe don't be on your bed. That would probably be rule number 1. Be sitting at a table or a desk. Have sufficient light, all of those things. What did I miss? Have I missed anything, Hannah? Do you think that I need to, that maybe I did last time when we were talking about behaviors or anything, or are we good to go into the Q&A?
Oh, I think that was great.
Okay.
Covered a lot of bases there. It's perfect.